The Made in America label is more popular than ever. Shirts, suits, fashion, and more on this episode of The Language of Business.
Keeping the girls in place comfortably. How much sun are you getting? How can you track it? Where does POTUS go to buy the right suit? But first, made in New England with pride. This is The Language of Business with Greg Stoller.
Entrepreneurs often buck trends, but would you have the guts to invest in a 200-year-old manufacturing mill when all you read in the news are the merits of offshore cheap labor? Bob Kidder isn't fazed by these trends at all. He's the president of New England Shirt Company. And Bob, welcome to The Language of Business.
Thank you for asking me to be here.
5 years ago, in the height of a recession, you were an executive here at the company, but then you decided to buy it, even in the wake of all jobs going overseas. What caused you to make that decision?
First and primary most was that I believed in the people that made product here. The history of this factory, it's been here for a long, long time. It's been actively making shirts for 75 years. This is a life and a love for the people that work here. So the first and most important thing was I believed in the people. The second part of it was I've grown up in American factories. My parents were manufacturers. I believe in Made in America. I've always believed that we make beautiful product and that if it's marketed properly, that there's room, despite the price points, for people that appreciate American quality.
How did you finance it? Is it self-financed? Did you look for outside investors, or was it employee purchased?
That time period, as you correctly pointed out, it was a recession, and the SBA was looking for ways to help small businesses get started. So there was money available from the SBA. And then I went to a couple of different angel groups, and I was very fortunate to find amongst one of those angel groups a person local, which was somewhat of a prerequisite for me. I wasn't looking for venture capital money, because this isn't the kind of story that venture capital appreciates. But I was looking for somebody that wanted a local story, that cared about the jobs and cared about Made in America. And I was lucky enough to find one person that met all of those criteria. And the great part about that is he not only has been a great financial supporter, but he's become a very close friend. So it's a win-win in that sense.
Why only high-end shirts and not other products?
It's what we do best. We are specializing in something, and the idea here is not to try to be something we're not, but rather to captivate an audience and capitalize on something we do really well. And what we really do well are shirts.
And why high-end shirts only?
Price points, margins. First of all, American product is not inexpensive. It can't be because of the labor. We're a union factory under Unite, and I'm very proud of that. My workers, we pay above union wages, and we've got a very, very strong relationship with the local union, and we're very partial to that relationship. So I don't say that in a bad way, but I do say it in the sense that when you're competing with China, where it's $2.50 high end for a day, and we're paying, $11, $12 an hour, there's just no way that you can bring those numbers together without selling a higher cost product. We don't try to sell to Macy's, we don't try to sell to any of those people. We can't, but we do try to sell to better specialty stores, to e-commerce business, to Nordstrom's, to the better people in the market that can take the price point and do something with it.
Where do you draw your labor from besides a walking radius around the factory?
Fall River in general. I mean, historically, Fall River was always a needle town, as was New Bedford. And there have been people here for many, many years that have grown up sewing. And if you walk down and take a look at our floor, we've not only taken advantage of the historical fact, but we've tried to recruit younger people. We have different denominations from different countries, and so we're trying to broaden the work base all the time, but the base is still Fall River.
And how about the designers? Are they also purely made in America?
You're looking at the designer at the moment, so the product is completely, there are no American fabrics. So that's not something, unfortunately, that we can take advantage of. All the fabrics come from overseas, but the ideas for what the shirts represent are certainly American. We pay attention to what's going on in Italy and in France and all over the world, because that's where great design takes place. But we incorporate that into what we think is appropriate for our clientele.
When you're sitting in the buyer's office at Nordstrom's and you're telling your story, do they care at all?
Yes and no. They certainly care that it's made in America. Nordstrom actually made product in this factory for 10, 15 years. All of the Fastenal product was made here. So they're aware of, using them as an example, they're aware of this factory. And they care about Made in America, certainly. But at the end of the day, it's two things. It's going to be quality, then it becomes a discussion about price. One of the nice things that I find that's going on now is there are really two different types of retail stores. You have the classic specialty store, you know, the Mitchells and the Richards of the world, the Mr. Sid in Boston, the really fine stores, the better specialty stores. But there's a whole new generation of younger people that are starting either e-commerce businesses or different types of retail ventures. And they're very aware of Made in America. Today, you know, the younger consumer doesn't necessarily want to own a lot of stuff. He wants to own something that he believes in, that's well made, that he can stand behind and say, I'd rather own one of those than 5 of the other things. So quality is still important.
Where do you see your business in 5 years?
Growing. You know, we have a lot of projects right now for Ralph Lauren. Yesterday we just found out that we're going to do the Olympic thing.
Congratulations.
Shirts for 2016. So, you know, we're excited about where we can go from a growth standpoint. We believe in e-commerce. So I see us continuing to work with better stores, doing private label for them because that's important. And I see us building and forming stronger relationships with larger people like Ralph Lauren and people like that.
Anything that keeps you up at night about your business?
Making product in the United States has to be a passion because it's not easy.
What hasn't been easy about it?
Building something from scratch. I mean, the business had been here for a while, but basically when I started 5 years ago, I didn't have an order, and this year between Trunk Club, which is one of our largest accounts and one of our best relationships, and Ralph Lauren and the specialty store business, we'll do 50 or 60,000 shirts. But that didn't take place in 1 year. It started with, you know, 100 shirts in Buffalo and grew because it was made in America, and then it grew a little bit more because it was quality and people liked the story. And but all of those things require money, they require patience, they require time, and all of those things make for sleepless nights. You know, we're fortunate, I'm fortunate, the angel that I talked about, you know, stuck with us through thick and thin. And most importantly, the people downstairs, you know, the sewers, the cutters, all of these people, they believe in what they do.
Bob, thank you. Bob Kidder, the president of New England Shirt Company here in Fall River, Massachusetts.
Coming up, how much sun are you getting? How can you track it? But first, keeping the girls in place comfortably. Next on The Language of Business.